Birds of Prey number 16, written by Dwayne Straczynski, art by Romano Molinar. Last issue had Katana quit the team, a guy named Condor was in Japan, and Batgirl introduced a Talon named Strix to join the Birds of Prey. Okay, so this issue picks up pretty much right at that last point where Black Canary and Starling are like, yeah, she's Talon. We almost died because of the last Talon. No more Talons. And Batgirl's like, no. She's cool. Her name's Strix. Just chill. And she's like, no, we're not going to chill. Are you crazy? Are you like under some sort of spell? And Batgirl's like, when has that ever happened? She's like, pretty much every other issue. So tries to introduce, and the team's like, okay, but like, why a Talon? Yes, we're down a member. Katana left, but like, seriously? And she's just like, no, she's cool. I had an annual, and she saved me. She's like, she's chill. And at that point, as she's starting to explain the story, Condor comes swooping in and tackles Strix into a wall. And she's like, oh God, no, not this guy. So at that point, Strix attacks Condor. And Black Canary and Starling are just trying to stop this from becoming a bigger thing as he uses his telekinetic ability on her. And, you know, Strix, not taking going into a wall so well, stands back up, is ready to full-on murder Condor. So Starling comes over and tackles Condor off the edge of the building so that Strix can't get to him. Then we see flashbacks to the annual, or at least what happened right afterwards, and Batgirl's like, hey, you saved my life, what can I call you? And she's like, my name's Mary. She has to write it down because she's a mute. And she's like, okay, but like, let's not use our real names because we all have superhero names. And Strix is like, why? And she's like, so anyway, I've come up with this cool Latin word that kind of means owl. It's Strix. That's your name now. So at this point, Strix punches Black Canary in the face, and she's like, oh, why can't anybody join this damn team without fighting each other first? And Batgirl jumps away being like, okay, look. If you want to beat her up, you got to beat me up first. But I know we're friends and you're not going to do that. Black Canary's like, I will blow her away if she so much as tries near you. Cut over to Starling and Condor. She's just ripping all the wiring out of Condor's wingsuit. And he's just like, no, we're going to fall. What's wrong with you? And so they crash down onto a roof. And she's like, I just wanted you to know what it feels like because you dropped me off on a roof back in Japan. So Batgirl continues to talk to Strix, and Black Canary is like, hey, make sure she doesn't murder anybody. And Batgirl's like, shut up. Anyway, Strix said, we know you're cool, so don't attack friends. And then Condor and Starling land like right next to him. And he's like, how did you even get into my suit? It's tamper-proof. And she's like, I have a very unique set of skills. Anyway, are we all cool now? And Condor's like, yeah, sorry, I thought you were a villain. No hard feelings, right? And Strix goes to throw a punch, and he uses his mind abilities to knock it away, and just like, all right, well, I guess we're a team now. Cut to 3 weeks later, where they are a team, and they're going in to fight. And turns out that way back in, I think the Zero issue, there was a guy who had basilisk weapons that was dealing at the Iceberg Lounge. Turns out he got out of jail. He has more weapons, and he's going to use it to take down the entire city's power grid. They found out about it, and they're coming to interrupt the deal. So Starling and Strix go in first, trying to get in there and stealthily. Starling keeps on cracking dirty jokes, trying to get anything out of Strix, but Strix is like just holding her finger to her mouth, just like, shut up, don't want to deal with this. They kind of make fun of Condor for joining an all-girl team. It's like, you're joining the Birds of Prey, Condor, mainly because you dress like a bird, but, people might think you're... And then he interjects with, you mean awesome, right? And it's like, yeah, awesome. So at this point, they see all the armed guards, and it's like, all right, Strix goes in first, uses her stealth to knock out pretty much all the guards before they're able to do anything to alert anyone inside. And as they get to the building... Starling's like, okay, yeah, this is wired up real good. Like, if I push on this too hard, it's gonna just alert everybody, and there's no other way in. So then Black Canary's like, okay, I'll knock down a wall with my canary cry when we gotta move in real quick and make sure nobody has a chance to push the button to take down the grid. But then, wouldn't you know it, just as soon as she's about to use her cry, she starts getting supercharged, and she's like, bursting with energy, and she lets out her canary cry, which not only knocks the house down, but also seemingly takes out the entirety of the building. And the entire power grid for the city goes down, and we just see her standing there covering her mouth like, oh God, what have I done? And that's where the issue leaves off. So I get that, there wasn't an immediate threat. And so we just did a thing of like a time skip basically until there was a threat. But a lot can happen in 3 weeks in terms of getting your team to act like a team. And yet nothing seemingly happened in those 3 weeks because they literally, like, they're just picking up over the exact same point they left off on. I don't get why it had to be 3 weeks, I guess, is my thing. We could have just as easily had Batgirl as soon as like the meeting completed. She's just like, oh, I'm getting a alert that that guy from before is currently holding a meeting. We gotta go. I don't understand why the 3 weeks had to pass because it seems like nothing happened in terms of them being more of a team. Just a bit strange of a choice to me. Not inherently bad, but just weird. I'm getting kind of tired of the Black Canary being supercharged at the end of like literally every issue. Just explain it. Just, I know that it's her husband. We all know it's her husband. They showed that it's her husband. Do it already. Pull the trigger. I'm tired of waiting. So yeah, I'm going to give this one like, I'll give it a 7 just because it didn't do anything that's like objectively horrible. And I do like the fact of they are organically changing the team up. Like, okay, here's how people come, people go. Condor, we introduced last arc. It makes sense that he's around. I'm okay with the choices they're making. I just don't think this issue was particularly strong in actually doing anything besides getting the new team set up. And the fact that that was at the halfway point of the issue, you could have done more with it. So yeah, 7 for this. And hopefully it can up its game a little bit next, I guess, arc.